Hello, and welcome to the ASU Financing Your Global Education workshop. This is the ASU Global Education office, and this is going to be a workshop all about financing your global education programs, so study abroad programs, internships abroad, things like that. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. What we will be going over in this presentation: first, we will be going over the program types, the different types of programs that we have at the ASU Global Education office. We will then be going over the different financial aid options for students studying abroad. Then we will go over scholarships and grants, community-based funding, some next steps, and then I will show a quick tour of our website. So just a little bit about me. My name is Brianna, and I'm a student recruiter, and I'm a senior marketing major. I studied abroad in Rome, Italy for a full semester in 2021. And I've been working as a student recruiter at the Global Education office for close to a year now. So getting into the different program types, we have 4 different types of programs at the Global Education office. These first 2 programs, faculty-directed summers and global intensive experience programs, are our short-term programs, and partnership and exchange programs are our long-term programs. So the first type of program is called a faculty-directed summer. They are 2 to 8 weeks during the summer, and how it works is that it's an ASU faculty member taking ASU students abroad for an experience. And how this works is that students will pay for their ASU tuition, so the cost of the course attached to the program, with a program fee. And this program fee will most likely include housing, some transportation, some meals. It depends on the program, and I'll talk a little bit about that more later, but that is what you will typically see in a faculty-directed summer program fee. The next type of program is a global intensive experience program, which are our shortest programs. They are 7 to 12 days during academic breaks, so spring break, winter break, before spring semester starts, after spring semester starts, before fall, things like that. And it works similarly to faculty-directed summers. It's an ASU faculty member taking ASU students abroad for an experience. And students will pay the regular ASU tuition for the number of credits completed during the term. So what this means is that, for example, if you're going to do a global intensive experience program during spring break, students will pay the tuition for the class that is attached to the program with their spring semester tuition. So since these programs are so short, students are usually taking the class attached to the program during the semester. So for example, you would take the class during spring semester session A and then go abroad to finish out the course over spring break. So how it works is that you're paying for the class alongside your spring semester tuition. And yeah, then you would also have to pay any program fee on top of that. Again, that would be housing, some transportation, meals, things like that. But that's typically how the global intensive experience programs work. So the first type of long-term program that we have is called a partnership program. These are summer programs, semester-long or year-long programs. And how it works is that it's an ASU partnership with an outside organization. And students will take classes with students from all over the world, usually at local institutions. And how the finances work is that students will pay their ASU tuition included in the program fee. A benefit of partnership programs is that housing is usually provided by the partner organization. So in this program fee, you're going to see your tuitions, the cost of the class, housing, sometimes excursions, some transportation, things like that. The last type of program that we offer is called an exchange program. These are summer, semester, or year-long programs. And how it works is that you will be a fully integrated student at a foreign university. And the classes are taught by foreign faculty, and you're going to classes with local students, international students, US students as well. So how the finances of this works is that you're just paying your regular ASU tuition and fees for the number of credits completed during the term. So there is no program fee for this type of program. So usually you're not getting some of the benefits that a program fee may provide. So sometimes housing isn't provided, students have to find their own visa, transportation is on their own, things like that. But because you're not paying a program fee, exchange programs typically are cheaper than partnership programs. And I'll show you what that looks like on a cost sheet now. So these are some of the application costs that students can expect. So first, students will have to pay a $50 non-refundable application fee. So for every application that you submit, there is a $50 fee. Students also will expect to pay any mandatory registration fees to ASU that you typically pay. If you're curious about what this looks like, I would just Google ASU mandatory registration fees to get a better understanding of the deadlines and what these fees look like. Students also have to continue paying their specific program fees. So for example, if you are a Barrett, the Honors College student, you still have to pay your Barrett fees. There are also college fees for every college here at ASU, and you will have to continue to pay that. So for Fulton, WP Carey, etc., there are specific college fees. If you don't know what this looks like, I would, again, Google undergraduate college fees ASU to make sure you're familiar with the college fees that you will have to pay. Then you will pay a program fee for the program, which is split into 2 payments paid 1 month apart. So usually what this looks like, for example, for spring semester, students will be charged in January for the first part and then early March for the second part of the payment. So a little bit about financial aid, some things to keep in mind. So first of all, you're going to want to submit a FAFSA. Even if you don't typically submit a FAFSA application, it's really great to do so because you might receive more than you expect, and you may need a FAFSA on file for many scholarships for studying abroad. A lot of the scholarships and grants that we offer through our office require a FAFSA on file to demonstrate financial need. Also, you're going to want to review the individual cost sheets for the programs that you're interested in, which I will show in a second. So you're really going to want to be familiar with the program fee, what it includes, and understand the estimated costs. Then the last piece of advice is definitely just to plan. Know the financial aid rules, become familiar with how your financial aid is distributed, how billing works, what the deadlines are, understand the requirements for your specific financial aid, scholarships, what you have to do to keep them, maintain them, and remain in good standing with the university. You're also going to want to be strategic about how much aid to accept, which I will go into a little bit more later. So on our program brochures, there's a tab called Financing Your Program, and there are some steps for students that are helpful for financing your study abroad program. And there's a link there so you can submit your FAFSA application. After doing this, or if you have any questions about this, we definitely strongly encourage visiting or calling the financial aid and scholarship services here at ASU. You can look up their contact information on Google and insist on speaking to a financial aid counselor who is someone who specializes in more complex financing issues, such as studying abroad. So definitely ask for a financial aid counselor because they're more familiar with how these more complicated things work, and they can be a point of contact for you as you start your global education experience. So this is what a cost sheet looks like. These are on every brochure page for all of our programs under program cost. This is an example of a cost sheet for short-term programs, so faculty directed and global intensive experience programs. At the top, it will say the program fee for this term is blank, and it'll give a list of what the program fee includes. So in this example, it includes tuitions for 6 ASU credits, so the cost of 2 classes, housing, entrance fees, transportation between location, faculty support, and international health insurance. What the fee does not include in this example is airfare, most meals, passport renewal, and books and personal expenses. So what students should focus on mainly is this $6,000 in this example, which is the billable subtotal. So what is going to be billed to your My ASU account under your finances tab, like you normally are billed for things at ASU. These are examples of cost sheets for long-term programs. So I'll start with this first one, foreign exchange program. So how to read this is these first few costs, so the application fee, the GEO administration fee, international travel service fee, and the carbon offset fee. These line items are the billable totals to ASU. This doesn't include tuition yet, so the cost of the classes, and students will see that as well, but it's the regular tuition that you pay at ASU plus this billable subtotal. So you're going to see this $800 billed to your ASU account under your finances tab. The rest of these line items are what we call non-billable subtotals. So this is not going to be billed to your My ASU account. These are just estimated costs that they try to give students so that they have a better sense of what they can expect to pay out of pocket for their study abroad experience. So as I mentioned earlier, exchange programs usually don't include housing. So that's why you're seeing a large number line item for housing. All of our programs, students do pay for their own airfare. So you can expect to pay for your airplane ticket out of pocket. And there's some other things here that they give students to just let them know what they can expect to pay out of pocket. So meals, local health insurance, passport, visa, transportation, books, personal expenses, things like that. So again, this $8,000 that you're seeing at the bottom is a non-billable subtotal. It's just an estimate, but it is something that students should keep in mind and should expect roughly to pay out of pocket on their global experience. On the right side, this is an example of a partnership program cost sheet. And it's very similar. So what you're seeing billed to your ASU account in this example is the application fee, the program fee. So again, this will include things like housing, some transportation. This also includes tuition, so the cost of the class, and some additional items. Then you're seeing the international travel service fee and the carbon offset fee. So what's being billed in this example to your account is $10,000 if you are an in-state student, and then for non-residents, it's going to be $14,000. Then the next chunk of line items, again, are the estimated costs that they try to give students to give them a sense of what they will pay out of pocket. Again, airfare for all of our programs is out of pocket, meals, your passport, local transportation, things like that. So there is the estimate of the non-billable subtotal. So what students are going to be charged is the billable subtotal. Something to keep in mind as you're looking at this is to really think about where you want more of the financial burden. So if you have a lot of scholarships that go straight to your ASU account, I suggest taking more of the financial burden on your billable subtotal. So for example, let's say that you have $10,000 in scholarships. You might want to do a partnership program because then that $10,000 in scholarships will go straight towards your billable subtotal. So all that really that you would be paying is these out-of-pocket non-billable subtotals. So this $3,000 out of pocket. If you don't have a lot of scholarships or money coming into your ASU account to help pay for a program, you might want to do an exchange program so that you're taking less of a financial burden being billed to your ASU account and more of a out-of-pocket financial burden. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about this, again, feel free to reach out to our office or to the Financial Aid and Services office here at ASU. Also, partnership programs are typically less expensive for in-state students, so it's usually the best option for in-state students, and exchange programs are usually the best option for out-of-state students. So not that it's impossible to flip-flop that, but that's typically what we see works best for students. So again, we want to encourage planning early. So we always encourage students enrolling full-time at ASU while they are participating on one of our programs. So 12 credits or more for a semester or 6 credits or more for a summer program. And this is because most financial aid and scholarships and grants are contingent on students staying full-time. So just become familiar with the requirements of your scholarships. I know there are some students who they have to be enrolled in 15 credit hours every semester to keep their scholarship. So just make sure that you are meeting the requirements for your scholarships and financial aid. Also, a piece of advice is that you can save your financial aid for later. So how this works is every student, when you submit your FAFSA, you are offered a financial aid package starting for the fall. You don't have to accept all of the aid that you are offered in the fall. You can actually accept partial aid in the fall, save some of that for later semesters, so for spring or summer terms, and that can help pay for your program. If you have any questions about this, this is definitely a great question for financial aid. For your financial aid counselor, I would frame this as, hello, I'm interested in participating on a global education program, and I'm interested in learning more about how I can save my financial aid for later. Last piece of advice, students can expect a reassessment. So because your cost of attendance is changing because you are studying abroad, the financial aid office will automatically reassess your cost of attendance and may adjust your financial aid offering and scholarship offerings more or less. So I would become familiar with how your financial aid may change if your cost of attendance changes, because some financial aid is contingent on a lot of different factors. So it may be the case that we will receive more in financial aid if you study abroad, but in some cases you might receive less. So I would just become familiar with that before you make a decision on studying abroad. And how I would frame this question for a financial aid counselor is, hello, I'm interested in participating on a global education program. How will my financial aid offer change if my cost of attendance changes? So getting into the scholarships and grants that we offer through our office, the first scholarship that we have is called the Go Global Grant. And this is for students who demonstrate financial need. So you need to have a FAFSA on file. And there's a component of academic merit. So just making sure that you're meeting a certain GPA requirement. For the priority deadlines, the grant amount is $1,500. And for the final deadline, the grant is $1,000. And here are the typical deadlines for priority and final deadline for this grant for your program of interest. And these deadlines coincide with the deadlines for our program. So for example, if you want to study abroad during the summer, the deadline for those programs are typically March 1st. So as you are applying for your programs, make sure you are also applying for these scholarships through our office at the same time because the deadlines match up. The next scholarship that we have is called the GEO Diversity Scholarship, and this is for students with racial or ethnic diversity, students that are non-traditional, so students that are older than 25, married students, and or students with children. If you have a physical or learning disability, if you're first generation, a veteran, or part of the LGBTQIA, and the amount of this scholarship is $2,000 grants. And again, the deadlines for this scholarship coincide with the deadlines for our program applications. So again, for example, if you want to study abroad in the summer, the deadline for that is typically March 1st. You're going to want to start applying for your program and apply to this grant around the same time, February 1st. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind while you're applying for programs. And these last two scholarships I just talked about, they are honestly very easy to apply to. So I really encourage any student, if you meet these requirements, to apply. The next scholarship that we have through our office is called the Global Online Learning Grant. And this is for students demonstrating financial need. So again, you need a FAFSA on file for this scholarship and students meeting a certain academic requirement. And these are $500 rewards for the summer. So for any summer programs. And the deadline for this is May 1st. Some other scholarships and grants. So this is a really great resource. This is how the typical ASU scholarships and grants apply to each program type. This really helped me figure out which program type I should do because of the scholarships that I had. So to maximize my funding. So definitely take a screenshot or take a picture of this to understand how that works. And if you have any questions about this, you can contact financial aid with any questions. And again, you're going to want to speak to a financial aid counselor. Another great scholarship is called the Gilman Scholarship. And eligibility for this, students have to be a U.S. citizen and they have to be Pell Grant recipients. So again, another great reason to have your FAFSA on file. And the preference for students is that they are a diverse student going to a diverse location. So what this means is less typical study abroad locations. So South America, Africa, Asia, things like that. And students who submit a detailed and engaging essay are more likely to win. And this scholarship is up to $5,000, which is a lot of money, and in some cases can cover the whole cost of a program, which is amazing. And the deadline for winter break, spring break, summer, fall, or academic year programs is going to be in early October. And the deadline for post-spring, summer, fall, academic year, and spring programs is typically going to be in early March. If you have any questions about this, you can contact Shay, who works at the Office of National Scholarship and Advisement, located in Barrett, the Honors College. Their office is located in Barrett, the Honors College, but you do not have to be a Barrett, the Honors College student to apply to this. So don't feel discouraged just for whatever reason. this office is located in Barrett, but you do not have to be a Barrett student to be eligible for the Gilman Scholarship. Some other departmental scholarships that students might want to look into. So some colleges have college-specific study abroad scholarships. I know for a fact WP Carey has a specific study abroad scholarship for students, and a lot of other departments do as well. So I would definitely ask if your department or college offers study abroad scholarships. If you're not sure who to ask your academic advisor at your college, and hopefully they can point you in the right direction, because this is a lot of great untapped money that you are eligible for simply for just studying abroad and being in your college. Also, a thing with departmental scholarships, I always encourage students to apply to scholarships for their major that they apply for typically for a semester. So for example, WP Carey has a general scholarship fund that students can apply to every year. And I definitely encourage applying to those general scholarships because you never know how much money that you might receive. And just because it explicitly says, just because it doesn't say anything explicitly about being able to use the money for studying abroad, more likely than not, you will be able to use it for studying abroad. So I definitely encourage looking into those scholarships that you typically apply for. And if you have any questions about that, you can always email the scholarship givers, whoever's in charge of the scholarship, and just ask, hey, I'm studying abroad. Can I still use this scholarship? Because more likely than not, they will be okay with you using the money for studying abroad, since it is, they are ASU approved programs and you're still enrolled as an ASU student. So some other national scholarships, we have a scholarship portal on our website, which I will show at the end during the website tour, with over 100 scholarships designed for students in global education programs. You can also look into more scholarships at the Office of National Scholarship Advisement. They're, again, a great resource. They have advising, workshops, programming, and info sessions for scholarships throughout the year. So I know they have workshops and info sessions about the Gilman Scholarship in particular. So even if you don't think that you're eligible or you're not really sure how it works, I would definitely encourage contacting them and going to one of their workshops to be more informed about the opportunities that they have. And again, they are located in Barrett on the Tempe campus on the second floor of the Honors Hall, but you do not have to be a Barrett student to take advantage of these resources. So don't feel discouraged if you're not a Barrett student, because this is open to all ASU students. So some general scholarship advice. First, you want to research scholarships early. So if you know, okay, I'm going to study abroad a year from now, start looking into scholarships that you could be eligible for. So when the time comes and when those deadlines start approaching, you'll be ready to apply for as many as you can. And yeah, and you're going to want to know those deadlines. So you don't want to miss out on money because you let a deadline pass. So just make sure you're keeping track of those things. Maybe just write them down on a Google Doc or an Excel sheet, whatever way works for you, so you are keeping track of those deadlines. Next piece of advice is to answer at each prompt specifically and clearly. So if you're confused by a prompt, maybe give it a second and really thoroughly think before you start writing. I know there are times where I've applied for scholarships or just writing essays for class where I start writing this whole thing and then I look back at the prompt and it's not even what I'm responding to. So make sure you are actually answering the question and actually answering the prompt. And a great way to make sure that you're getting this right is to get an extra pair of eyes on your essay. So one great resource is the writing centers here at ASU. There's a few located on the Tempe campus, and there's one located on every campus, so West, Polytechnic, downtown. This is a great resource for the whole writing process, not just even when you're after after you're finished writing the essay, if you want to come in with the prompt and start brainstorming ideas with them, they can help lead you in the right direction, help fix your grammar, things like that. So definitely use them. It's a great resource. Also, you can ask your friends and family for advice and help on your essays. So sometimes when you are writing an essay, you kind of get into the slump and you don't know what's wrong with it. And definitely friends and family are a great resource just to get an extra pair of eyes, a second opinion on it. And maybe they can point out things that you are kind of lacking, especially people that know you well, because if it's a very personal essay, maybe they'll tell you, hey, this isn't really showcasing the person I know you are. And this isn't telling the story that I know that you can tell. So they can also provide a personal side to your essay, not just grammar help. You can also contact the international coordinators here at the Global Education Office for help. They don't control the outcome of these outside scholarships, but they can help maybe give you some pointers on how to write it in a global perspective. If you need help catering to a specific program and you need more details about the program in order to write an essay on it, they are also a great resource. So yeah, another piece of advice is to read your essays out loud. So I know for me, sometimes I make a lot of weird grammar mistakes, and reading my essays out loud definitely helps. So I definitely encourage doing that. And last piece of advice is to give your essays a break. So if you're feeling frustrated by the essay, by the scholarship application, give it a second, walk away, and then come back when you feel more refreshed. So this is going to be a little bit about community-based funding. So what we mean by that is like crowdsourcing. And 3 pieces of advice for this. First, have your elevator speech ready. So if you don't know what an elevator speech is, basically the idea is that you are stuck in an elevator with someone very important, someone that may give you a job or may give you money, or someone basically that you want to impress, but you only have the span of a short elevator ride to pitch yourself to them. So this is like a 30-second or shorter speech. And you're going to want to highlight your personal, academic, and professional goals. So there's tons of videos and resources online about this. Definitely Google elevator speech and write one and practice one as much as you can to maximize your community funding, because you never know who you might be in the same room with, donors, things like that, where you might want to pitch yourself and ask for help funding your program. The next piece of advice is to offer something in return. So for example, maybe you make a GoFundMe to fund your study abroad experience. It's sometimes better for people if they feel like they're getting something in return. So let's say you set a goal, hey, if you give me $10, I will write you a thank you note, or I'll bring you a gift from abroad, or provide some type of service. So it feels a little bit more give and take, and might make your potential donors more comfortable with giving you something. And last piece of advice is to use social media. So expand your network, and you can really get the word out about your community funding through social media, and not just like on Facebook or Instagram or GoFundMe. You can also use LinkedIn for more professional connections. So some other funding tips. One, it's always great to interact with your audience. So people, when they give, let's say you have a donor, when they give, it's kind of unsettling if they their money just goes into a void and they never see it again and they have no updates. So you're going to want to continuously interact with your donors or potential donors on whatever platform you use to communicate with them. So let's say you're running a GoFundMe, and maybe just every week or every month you share an update on it, interact with the audience, just so it's not like their money is going towards a void, and you are constantly reminding people that you still need additional funding. Next tip is to make your community-based funding personal, positive, and upbeat. So I think sometimes when you're doing this kind of crowdsourcing thing, it can kind of come off sad or desperate, if that makes sense, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but you don't have to kind of make it a sob story to get what you want. So maybe instead of saying, oh, I really need this, I'll cry if I don't like have the chance to study abroad, you know, and kind of going in about like a tragic backstory kind of thing, you can kind of say, make it more personal, show off your personality and be more positive, like talking more about the reasons why you do want to study abroad and not about the reasons that are holding you back kind of thing. I think it will, again, make people feel more positive and encourage them to donate to your cause. Like I said earlier, post updates and share your campaign. So it's not enough just to post once and expect to get $1 million, basically. So you're going to want to continuously update and post about your need to receive funding. This is a great piece of advice. So be strategic about your ask. Think about what you are asking money for. Again, like I said, people don't really like to throw their money into a void and have no idea where it's going. So maybe instead of saying, I need money to study abroad, you can say, I need money for my plane ticket so I can study abroad, and have a specific amount that you need, not just a no minimum or maximum amount. Like, I need $1,500 for my plane ticket, or I need $200 for my book so I can study abroad. Or it doesn't need to be anything, I guess, traditional either. If you need luggage, hey, can I get $300 for luggage? Help me reach my goal, that kind of thing. I think it just makes people feel more assured about where their money is going. If you can provide with an actual physical, tangible thing that you need the money for. And this is also a great thing because after you reach your goals, you can have tangible receipts of what you actually spent the money on. So after you reach your funding goal for your plane ticket, you can post the receipt. Hey, thank you so much. I got my plane ticket, and here's the screenshot of the receipt. So I think that always just like gives more reassurance to people and makes them feel better about donating. Last piece of advice is to capitalize on your strengths. So if you have a special talent, maybe you can say, maybe you're into film or something, photography, and you can say, okay, donate $10 to me, and after I study abroad and take all these amazing pictures, I will send you a postcard with the picture that I took, something like that. So if you have any like talents or skills or things that you can capitalize on, I definitely would do that. Also, it doesn't have to be anything like tangible. If you're just a people person and like a true salesperson at heart, sell yourself. So some next steps. So I move my picture. Next steps after this is to attend a Study Abroad 101 workshop, if you haven't already, which is similar to this workshop. We have them on Zoom or in person, and we also have them recorded on our YouTube channel if you're not able to make it live. And we go over more specific details about program types, how to choose a program, eligibility requirements, housing abroad, and yeah, so all of those general things that are necessary to know before you start this journey, we go over. So definitely look into that. If you need more help after that, schedule a one-on-one peer advising with a peer advisor like me, and we can just go over any specific questions you have about a region, a country, cultural things, health things. If you need help narrowing down a program, or just need help finding programs, we can do that as well. And also, you can just ask any question to us, basically. We're just students and we want to help, and we are all alumni of studying abroad. So we know all about the student experience. If you just want to hear about that, definitely schedule a peer advising appointment. Also, you're going to want to meet with your academic advisor. So even if you don't know when you're going to study abroad or how, letting your academic advisor know about this interest is always good, so that you can start planning early with them and make the most out of your ASU experience. So if you have any interest at all, please mention it to your academic advisor as early as possible. They also might be able to help suggest programs, and they might be able to rearrange some of your classes so you can get the most out of studying abroad. You can also start researching programs on our website, goglobal.asu.edu. Even if you don't know when you're going to study abroad, again, start looking at the different programs that we offer. The majority of our programs occur annually. So even if you're in high school and you're watching this video and you want to study abroad 4 years from now, you can already start looking at programs on our website, since the ones we have now will most likely occur in the future again, which is awesome. And right after this, I'm going to give a little website tour, so stay tuned for that. You can also meet with a financial aid counselor. Like I said, these are people at the ASU Financial Aid Office. Insist on speaking to a financial aid counselor so you can understand how your financial aid may change, and how you can stay eligible and maximize your funding. And yeah, if you are ready, you're about to apply, start applying for scholarships. It's never too early. So if you have any questions on this, you can scan that QR code to request more information, or if you just want to scan that, it will automatically sign you up for our email list. So you can just stay in the loop with everything ASU Global Education. You can also contact us with our information there. Our email is goglobal.asu.edu, or you can call us at 480-965-5965. All right, so I'm going to go through the website quickly. Our website is goglobal.asu.edu. This is a homepage. Since this is all about finances, I will start with where to find all the financing information. So if you go to ASU Students, Resources, Explore Funding, this is where all of our financing information is. So on this first page, it has all the steps that I just went over. So if you just need that, that's there. Also, it has the link to fill out your FAFSA application. It has the link to our financing workshop, which you're watching right now. Information about how to apply for FAFSA and how to read cost sheets. Under scholarships and grants, this is that chart that I showed earlier about how the typical ASU scholarships and grants apply to each program type. If you scroll on this page, this is also where our scholarship portal is, with over 100 scholarships. So if you click on search scholarships, this is the scholarship portal, which you can filter and things like that. So definitely check that out. Going back to our page really quick. If you keep scrolling on the page to the bottom, these are all of the scholarships provided through our office. So there's a link to those. And if you click on the individual ones, it will have the deadlines and all that good stuff, eligibility requirements on the page. So there's also some additional information. So this is some resources if you want to do some crowdfunding. A breakdown of the different program costs by program type, which I went over in this presentation. So if you need like a clear chart about it, this is where you would find that. There's also resources on how to create a budget. There's also this Financing Your Global Education Program Handbook, which I'm not going to lie, is very lengthy and kind of boring, but there's honestly a lot of great information in here. So print this out, highlight all the important things, because there's actually a lot of great information in here, a lot of information about billing and all that good stuff. And there's also a link to the Gilman Scholarship and the links to the Gilman Scholarship information sessions that are hosted by the Office of National Scholarship Advisement. I'm going to go back to the home page. So this first red button is the advanced search. So you can also do a map search, which is kind of fun. If you're looking for programs, you can kind of click around on that. But the advanced search gives you the chance to filter all of our programs by certain filters. So for example, let's do country, Australia, term, summer, and you can do it by a lot of other things too, but I'll just keep it simple and hit search. So these are all of our summer programs in Australia. So if you want to play around with that, that's a great resource. Going back to the homepage, this middle button is study abroad by major. So these are our major guides for specific majors. And these are lists of recommended programs for each major. So to click on one, for example, applied mathematics, these pages are really helpful. You don't have to study abroad for your major specifically, but I always encourage students to kind of start with their major and go from there. And these pages have a lot of great information. So quotes from students, why study abroad. I'll point you to under planning program, research your funding options. There are some more resources for students specifically for your major. So if you go to major specific scholarships, usually there's a link to the major specific scholarships that you can use to study abroad. So in this case, for applied mathematics, it's linking students to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences scholarships. So definitely check that out. And again, that is under research your funding options under planning your program. But if you keep scrolling, these are the recommended programs for the major. Again, these are not the only programs and you don't have to study abroad for your major. These are just recommended. There are more than this. But this is a great place to start. I'll show you guys an example of what a program brochure looks like. So let me just click on one. This is a short-term program. If you scroll on the program overview, this is a program brochure, by the way, they all look the same. This is all of the information about each individual program, most helpful resource. Yeah, but on program overview, you'll see the application button, quick facts, so the dates and what the program is about, the program snapshot, so what type of program it is. This is a short-term program, so faculty directed, GPA requirements, things like that, eligibility requirements and application requirements. You will also see who the international coordinator is, and a button to contact or meet the coordinator. So you can request an appointment or contact or email them. These coordinators are very helpful tools for students. If you have any very specific questions about the program or country, they are the point of contact. If you want general information about studying abroad, general information about countries and just studying abroad in general, that is a peer advisor question. International coordinators specialize in their individual programs and countries, so that is what they are there for. If you keep scrolling, it will also have the dates and deadlines for the program. Going up to the top, there's information about COVID considerations, location and housing for every program. So this is important to make sure you check just so that you're fully understanding your program fee. Like I said earlier, short-term programs include housing because you're not there for a long time. So in this case, students are provided housing. Courses and faculty, so all the information about the courses that you're taking for the program. And in this case, since it's a faculty-directed program with ASU faculty members, it will have the contact information of the faculty members on the page. So again, if you have any questions about this program specifically, you can contact these professors. And program costs is where the cost sheets are. So like I showed earlier, this is what a typical program cost sheet will look like for a short-term program. So the program fee for this upcoming summer is $7,000, and you can see what it includes and what it does not include. Again, this is the billable subtotal. So what's going to be billed to your ASU account. The non-billable subtotal will not be billed to your ASU account, and they are just estimates of what students can expect to pay out of pocket. You can also hover above each budget line item to read more information about the line item. Yeah, and if you have any specific questions about, hey, I don't really understand what's included in this program fee for this program, you can ask the international coordinator. There's also the link for financing. Again, these are all the tips and steps for maximizing your funding. And again, you might see a part about unique funding opportunities for this program. So this is always great to check out to see if there are some specific scholarships for this program that are provided by the college or things like that. And there's also the last tab is about special considerations. So this will have some things about the physical considerations and diversity abroad. So that's what a program brochure looks like. I'll show you an example of a long-term program brochure. Just 1 second so I can find one. Okay, perfect. So this is an example of a long-term program. Again, you'll know because it'll say under program snapshot, the program type. And it also says how many terms or which terms that the program is offered. So in this case, spring and fall semester. And it also has the international coordinator's contact information as well. Big difference is you're going to want to make sure you are looking at program housing, especially for exchange programs where housing is not always included. But under program costs, you will usually see 2 different ones for fall semester or a spring semester, but let's just look at a fall semester cost sheet. So how this one is broken up is that you're seeing the line items in the first column, the program cost for in-state students, the program cost for out-of-state students, and the cost estimate if you're doing an intensive month with this program. Again, you're going to want to look at the billable subtotal, what is going to be billed to your ASU account. In this case, it's a partnership program, so the program fee includes tuition and housing, and you can click on the individual line items to read more information about the individual cost. And again, if you have any questions about the specific program fee, you can ask the international coordinator. For example, hey, I know this is housing and I read the location and housing information, but I'm still kind of confused where this money is going. You can ask them that. And you got that non-billable subtotal again. So this is the things that are not going to be billed to your ASU account and what you can expect out of pocket. The reason why it says housing zero is because this program provides housing through the program fee. So that's how you read that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Going back to the home page, this last red button is our contact information. So what you will see on this page is our phone number, our email. We have a live chat open from 8 to 5 p.m. You can also schedule a peer advising appointment. You can also find the link for the Study Abroad 101 here. And if you keep scrolling, this is the contact information for all of the individual international coordinators. But again, these are people that you can contact when you're further along in your process and have very specific questions. But they're great resources. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you for listening. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact us or continue watching videos on our YouTube channel.